guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe, and I wanted to just talk about the role-playing games I have. And when I say role-playing games, this is going to be a little bit of a different video than usual. I don't mean video games, I mean pen and paper games. I ended up starting like kind of a dice collection, so I have a ton of dice, poker dice, and all different kinds of funny dice that have different things on them, Shadowrun dice with Shadowrun emblems. But I seem to go through these spurts in life of like reading up on things or watching videos on things, getting really interested in them, buying a bunch of it, and then maybe minimally using it or not really using it much at all. This is kind of my experience with the role-playing pen and paper games on the whole. I had, when I was a kid, it's still there, a local comic shop, and I think it was every Saturday they would do a Dungeons and Dragons game. And I think next to it they had done Magic the Gathering or something, the card game, and I was never big into that, though I do have some cards. So I would go there and play Dungeons and Dragons, and it was fun. I had a good time. One of my characters ended up in the very end of the game, I had a thief, and he ended up like transporting into space. So he's floating through space, you know, dying with some kind of magical stone. This sounds kind of amusing. And he was able to speak almost like a walkie-talkie to some other guy that, you know, didn't get transported into space. So you don't really know what happens in the end to my character, I guess I should say, but I would assume he died. If you don't know what pen and paper role-playing games are, it's kind of where I would say the video game role-playing genre stemmed from. It's a lot of imagination, it's a lot of calculations, which I'm not good with, and a lot of details, which again I'm not good with. So usually you end up with a book. Depending on the game, they're thin, they're thick, they're, you know, really in-depth, they're really easy, and you tend to, I would say, bend the rules in the book to work for you, or to simplify them, at least in my case, because I'm not very good with stuff like this. So the rules lay out like what you would do if you were in a fight in the game, and it's all done through using speech. So you'll have a bunch of friends around the table saying, like, you go in turns, which is where the role-playing part, and you can act out the character if you like, as weird as that sounds. Almost like a simplistic form of LARPing, I guess. But I don't do that. I just act like myself, or I sound like myself, but I act the way the character would act, or, you know, maybe say things the character would say. So you go around the table and there's a dungeon master or a GM, I think they call them as well, depending on the game you play, and they're kind of running things. They made the story, they made the world you're in, and you're going through it. So you'd say, okay, it's my turn now, I'm going to go up to that building over there and investigate for clues, or whatever. It depends on the kind of game it is. Now the dungeon master may say, well, he doesn't realize this, but there's a monster in that building. So I get into the building and he says, you see a 7-foot tall troll, you know, in front of you. He doesn't notice you're there. What do you want to do? And now you can say, I want to shoot him, or I want to, whatever the case may be. And you roll your dice, and then whatever the dice put out, maybe you have to reach over a certain number or under a certain number, again, depending on the game you're playing. And you'll do damage to the troll, kill the troll automatically, or maybe get your head ripped off even. So my first experience was playing Dungeons and Dragons at this local comic store. I then ended up finding this really great place called Ravenblood, which has since closed, but a new place has taken over. I haven't been there since. And I had played, I think, Vampire the Masquerade once. I had played this other one where you're in space. I can't think of the name of it. It's almost like Shadowrun in space, but I can't think of the name of it. I ran my own Shadowrun game once, and I played a bunch of Delta Green, which is a mod for Call of Cthulhu, and it's almost like X-Files is the best way to put it. And it was really fun, and a great group, and that was definitely my biggest and best role-playing game experience. People play online, people play via email, people play via Skype. There's this other thing called, I think, Roll20 or Roll something. It actually lets you use like a map on the screen. You can lay things out and chat through a webcam while you're playing. That looks really cool. I'm talking to you, Drew, aka 3AM Gaming. I want to play online soon. So there's all different methods you can play. You can use dice rollers online if you don't have real dice, though I prefer rolling real dice. But it's always been one of those things that I really liked, but I've just never played a lot of, because it takes such a long time that you can't really just get up and leave. You know, like you sit down and I'll play for 2 hours and be like, all right, I've had my fill. But the guy running the game, the DM or GM, is, you know, looking to play 4 or 5 hours. And you can't just get up and leave in the middle of the game. It's rude. This guy sat home on his weekend or weekends, using hours of time, creating this world, creating this game, all these statistics, and you're just going to get up and walk out. So it's kind of, it ends up being usually too long for me is what it is. And I usually don't have 4 or 5 hours to really kill either. But I wanted to show you some of my role-playing games. Some are fun, some are funny. So here we go. This is one I had spoken to 3AM Gaming about the other day, Drew. It's called Violence. It is super, super thin. And it's actually a game you cannot play. It's more of a joke. It's a critique on, I guess, role-playing games and just violence in them. As it says in the back, sex and drugs and lock and load. It's just goofy, you know. The guy at the front crossed his name out, put Designer X, because he supposedly didn't want to be known for making this title. But it's all about murdering and shooting people. It's kind of like Postal, the video game, but in role-playing form. But I'm pretty sure you actually can't play it because you need to use dice that don't exist. So it's like the whole thing's kind of just a tongue-in-cheek joke. This is one they have an online version of. I forget what the website's called. Like it might be called Paranoia Online. And this is, as you see, pretty thick. So I've never really read this. It's sort of like a computer is controlling everything. Sort of like I have no eyes, but I have no mouth, but I must scream. And it's in like the future. You're on some kind of ship or something. But it's very funny and it's goofy. And you have clones of yourself. And you're able to keep coming back and recloning yourself and trying to accomplish whatever mission. I've never played it, but I thought it was cool, so I picked it up. A lot of these you'll see I haven't played. Then I've got these, which are, wait, not this one. I forget which version this is. I think it's 3.5. These are the player handbooks. This is what you would need if you were a player for Dungeons and Dragons. And they always are top notch in terms of their quality, you know, color and really nice books. Again, it's all very, very detailed for me. I'm very bad with calculating things on the spot. I also had gotten, I guess, these from, I think a friend gave me these. The Forgotten Realms kind of like campaign settings. So if you want to go from the normal Dungeons and Dragons world to this, you can do that with this. This is the Psionics book if you want to get even further with, it's almost like magic, sort of. This is the Monster Manual. I mean, these are things I've never used. And then this is the Dungeon Master's Guide. So if you wanted to run your own game, you'd read this and it would pretty much teach you that. This was a goofy one I had gotten online, and I wanted to play it, but no one in my group ever wanted to play it. Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, the RPG. This is based on the movie with Forrest Whitaker, where he is a modern samurai in a urban setting, I guess is the best way to put it. The movie's cool, it's pretty good, kind of goofy, you know, because it's funny that there's this heavyset black guy, you know, as a samurai in the middle of the hood kind of thing. But I saw this and I was like, I gotta get this. I like the movie, and this is just so strange to make a role-playing game about, but pretty cool. This I think I played once with a bunch of friends too. I'm a huge Angel and Buffy fan, and this is the Angel role-playing game. You know, it lays out all different kinds of characters you can choose, and obviously all rules, and it was pretty cool from when I played. I mean, you know, we tend to skip around and kind of like pick and choose what we like. I think you create your own vampires and stuff in this. You don't actually, or vampire hunters, you don't actually play as the characters from the show. This I had showed once in the past. These are the Street Fighter role-playing game books. There's they call it the storytelling game. So, you know, it spans into so many different things that even video games get their own role-playing game. This is to make new warriors, and this is if you were a player, you know, to customize your character more. I think I got these online for a couple bucks each. They weren't expensive. And this is what I was talking about a couple minutes ago when I played Vampire. I think you need the World of Darkness book to kind of lay everything out, and then the Vampire book kind of goes more in depth. So that's what these are. I played once, it was pretty fun, once or twice. And my favorite, which is very hard for me, but the setting is my favorite at least, is Shadowrun. This is the, you know, it's cyberpunk mixed with orcs, elves, and trolls in a futuristic, like, dystopian setting. And this is the quick start rules. So this kind of just gives you a really brief rundown. I think it's volume 3, if I remember correctly. And they're up to 5 now. Yeah, I think it's 3. And, you know, it gives you a layout, a quick mission, and just to get you started, so to see if you even like the series or the game. And this was something I picked up in a store with my dad, and I thought this was really cool. It's all the art from the Shadowrun books and stuff, and maybe even the video games, I'm not sure, over the years. I'm showing you, and it's not even on camera. Good job, Mike. So, pretty cool stuff. Kind of like Bisley Brom type stuff, but I don't think they did any of the art in this. And then here is Shadowrun. This is the 20th anniversary 4th edition, I think. And it's pretty good. I hear that the second or third edition, I think second edition is actually easier to play with. Like, it's more simplistic, and I need that. I'm just not good with these things. So I tend to get into these things, buy a ton of them, like I said, and then not really play them too much. But I always do like them and appreciate them and think they're really interesting. So I just wanted to show you my small collection of books, and maybe you can recommend some to me. And that's about it. So it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Tell me, what are some of your favorite role-playing games? Do you play online, offline? Which ones do you find fun, goofy, simplistic? Have you never played? Thanks guys for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe again. Be good.